Hey everyone, Pupsker here, and today in Warframe, we're going to talk about the brand new Oraxia Warframe. She is the brand new Spider Warframe, and all things considered, she's pretty great. I wouldn't say she's the best frame ever. I'd say that goes to Dante or Revenant just based on bullshittery, but she is very good and very strong overall. Her kit has wall, web slings, invisibility. You have a kind of takedown executes here. You have a damage vulnerability increase webbing CC. You spawn little spiderlings with your one ability, and your fourth ability is just boosts to damage, toxin damage, tankiness via gaining health and everything like that. So her overall kit works really well if you're looking for a health tank type of Warframe. She works really well with the general Umbral set and everything along the lines there. But obviously, if you're doing higher level content and you're trying to survive for a longer period of time, you're still going to want and need your health shield gating in a way. So, sorry, not health gating, but shield gating to keep your health up. So keep that in mind. And maybe you want better energy, it's stuff like that. But overall, she's pretty good. I enjoy playing her a lot. But she's, you know, never going to be as good as something like Dante. Your execute's your main way to get energy and, like, life back. But I find that half the time you kill things so fast, so it's... it doesn't really work too well. It works well, but, like, not as good as it could, right? Because that wasn't an execute there. I tried, but they didn't quite drop low enough. So sometimes the enemies just aren't at low enough health for long enough for you to properly commit your execute. So it works better in like larger games where there's a lot of enemies spawned, but Void Flood looks like it has a pretty calm down spawn rate. Never really noticed that before, especially solo Steel Path apparently. Hot damn. Either way, let's go take a look at Oraxia's kit. She is the hype spider frame, and I would definitely recommend everyone pick her up. So let's go take a look. So everybody, let's take a look at Oraxia's ability quickly, one by one. If we take a look at her abilities, starting off with her passive, it's just straight up wall latching grants Predator's Lurk, rendering Oraxia invisible for 8 seconds. I don't believe that's affected by strength or anything, so it's just flat 8 seconds because passives are never really affected by strength. So you get a wall latch on your passive, so you can functionally stay invisible forever. If you just go here, right, 1, 2, 3, you look in the very top right over there, and you can see it, 8 seconds is pretty long of a time. You don't have to stay wall latched for anywhere longer than like a millisecond. So it does run out. It is on wall latch, not while you're wall latch. So my cool down timer in the top right is still going off, and then I return. So it is really good. The main part is you use it in conjunction with your fourth ability. You use shift to web sling wall to wall, and that'll keep your passive up way better than some other things could. So keep that in mind. You'll want to use that in order to just always be invisible on the wall. So that's Oraxia's passive ability. Her first ability, you can look at it with my stats, leap onto an enemy and pierce them with Oraxia's spider legs, dealing toxin damage. Enemies defeated by this attack have a chance to drop health and energy orbs. So with strength, that goes up. The instant kill threshold is no matter 50% health instant kill threshold. Okay, now let's go back to it. It does do a good chunk of toxin damage in general, and it does have a really nice range. But this is going to be your energy regeneration and health orb pickup ability. Since you're health tanking, probably health orbs are going to be a little bit better. You can use it in conjunction with equilibrium to have essentially infinite energy if you need, and it's probably recommended, but hey, you can always do whatever you need to do. Let me clear out these enemies. Make it just a regular orc in a battle group. And then you'll see you just do a bunch of damage, right? Get a bunch of health orbs and items. My issue is this is a very annoying ability to do at lower ranks and levels. When you're doing lower level Steel Path, sometimes you just slaughter enemies too fast. So it can be kind of a pain in the ass to actually get enemies down to that 50% kill threshold before you actually kill them. So that's my only issue with it. You do seem to prioritize the targets that kill threshold. So if you're just clicking around your ability, it does seem to like target focus the enemies you can one-shot over the ones you can't. But as you can see, it is still a very good ability. And if you're done slaughtering the enemies, there will be like health or energy orbs everywhere. So you can pick up a lot of that. And again, with Equilibrium or even one Archon Shard, you can do great amounts of health energy restoration via using the ability. So real good shit right there. If we look at the second ability, I believe this is the ability most people helmet off right now from what I'm seeing. This is a AoE CC damage vulnerability ability. The issue is the damage vulnerability is only 50% and people probably are lazy and they just want to throw on like Roar or Nourish over this. So hey, Oraxia throws a creeping web to ensnare her prey. Enemies caught within the web, the widening radius are trapped inside a cocoon that increases damage vulnerability. It costs 50 energy by default, 10 meter radius, so it's not massive. Does some toxin damage, really, really high duration, but 3 webs max and damage vulnerability is at 50%. So we've had much higher damage vulnerability abilities out there. And CC isn't the preferred method. You can see as it like slowly pushes out, like the web, it slowly AoEs out to that 13 meters. And like, as you can see, that's not too bad. You can have 3 webs up at once, so you can actually set up a good choke point, and it'll make killing everything a lot easier with that that default 50% damage vulnerability. So I do think it's a really good ability overall if you're playing more defensive and you just plan to throw it down to kill a bunch of enemies. The issue is it'll then like catch enemies when you're running around and kind of a pain in the butt. I like the ability, but I understand why people are helmeting it off as the main helmet off ability. So that's Webbed Embrace. Good, but could be better. The third ability is awesome. Launches a barrage of stinging darts in front of her that applies toxin status. Poison enemies spawn scuttlers. The duration is 15 seconds on the poison, I believe, but the scuttler duration, and like the scuttler spawn, is 45-second duration by default. 10 scuttlers max. I think it bugs out to give 3 sometimes. So that means you can do a summoner build on Oraxia, and that is exactly what I'm doing. I am doing a summoner build on her. I took my pet off so it's easier to pay attention to like her abilities. So you hit a bunch of enemies with your third and you'll see they're all poisoned. The abilities kind of auto hit and that's not terrible damage. But then once you start shooting them, you'll see your scuttlers spawn. Oh, and they'll just beat the shit out of the enemies. Obviously, summons are a little lower tier, but they're still pretty good and interesting. If we throw on one web, 3, sorry, and we just take a look, they do like 5,000-6,000 damage per bite. They're slowly eliminating enemies, right? They're a good bonus to damage, but it's not like summons by default are the most insane thing in Warframe. But they're doing a lot of toxin. They're applying a lot of status, right? Like, look at the enemy. They're getting a lot of toxin status, and that's kind of their main use, is really good toxin status. I wish we could do max level of 9999 in Simulacrum, but no, we cannot. Either way, those are the spiders. I think people really enjoy the spiderlings, and it is really, really cute. But hey, I think depending on how you play, you'd want to possibly helmet off the Widow's Brood spiders. If you do not care about spawning summons and you're just going for straight damage boost, yeah, you might actually just helmet this off. I think realistically, anything's an option depending on how you feel like playing this Warframe, so play how you feel like. Next up is her fourth ability, Silken Stride. Unfurl Oraxia's spider legs and go on the prowl. Oraxia is immune to status effects and has increased maximum health. Ranged weapons are imbued with toxin damage. Killing enemies causes them to burst with toxin, and you have tap dodge to leap to a targeted surface. So already awesome. 2 times max health is default. 40% extra toxin damage. You gain wall latch extra damage. I think depending on how far you are away from when you wall latch, it's a real weird one. And you gain explosive damage boost. So already it sounds pretty insane, okay? Already it sounds insane. But I will show you. You hit your fourth ability, you have that Silken Stride boost in the top right. I hit shift, it goes to 245. Now I annihilate everyone. they don't even stand a goddamn chance, right? You gain such a high amount of damage boost that you start absolutely annihilating enemies. And if you combo your entire kit together, right, you're obviously going to just annihilate everyone. Look at that. There's just like no chance. So once you boost and get your 4th ability boosted up with strength, you're an absolute powerhouse. Because you can read the ability, right? 98% damage boost with Toxin Stride right there. Arcane Bellicose, gain ability strength based on your max health, so I have more strength. And then increased companion damage summons, Summoner's Wrath. So I have such a high amount of boosted damage that everything does so much. And yes, it is bugged where it looks like my spiderlings are level 500, the scuttlers. So the damage numbers are a bit all over the place. But once you boost up your strength and you get everything up, your scuttlers just absolutely destroy everything. But that's also because they're like bugged out to be level 500. So keep that in mind. I believe scuttlers are supposed to be kind of like the level of the enemy. So that's not supposed to be how it works. It's kind of weird. Bugs in Warframe are more common than the flu, let me tell you. Either way, your overall ability damage is insane. You see that I now have 197% damage on Silken Stride because I grabbed the wall. And then I'm just good to go there. So Oraxia is an absolute powerhouse in general. Let's go over my build and Archon Shards and everything. If we take a look here, Archon Shards are as follows. I like to have 1 casting speed. You might like to have 2. It really depends on how you play the game. I like to have 1 casting speed. I do have 1 armor shard because that is pretty much my only source of armor. Since I am health tanking, it's good to throw on a little bit of armor as well as adaptation. And if you want to go a step farther, you can throw on a damage reduction ability such as like Eclipse or a more defensive ability instead of an offensive one if you feel like health tanking. You can always shield, gate, tank, no problem. I just have her set up for health tanking because I don't plan to do level cap, so it doesn't really matter too much, right? So I have some armor there. I have 2 toxin status effects deal 45% more damage. If you want to just do buck wild high damage, straight up throw on 5 of these, your damage is going to go through the goddamn roof. Everything you do is toxin, right? So it boosts your gun 4 damage on your ultimate. It boosts your toxin on your Widow's Brood and your summons. It boosts the damage on your Webbed Embrace. It boosts the damage on your Mercy's Kiss. You're essentially a god. So I would recommend, if you feel like it, just throw on a bunch of Tau Forge toxin status effect Archons. I do have 1 ability duration one. Probably can no problem swap that out for another toxin damage one if you want to. Okay, let's be real. Oh, the scuttlers don't scale with enemy level, they scale off mission level. Oh, those bastards. Either way, pretty strong. So that is my Oraxia Archons. You can use so many different Archons. It's great. There's so many strong ways. But if you're just going for damage, you're probably min-maxing just looking for toxin status effects. So keep that in mind. If you're just looking for damage, throw that toxin on. Holy crap. If you have 5 of them, that's like a 200% toxin damage increase, dude. That's insane. Almost 250, but it's like 225. So absolutely insane. If we're going to look at my mod build with Oraxia, this is what I've chosen to do. 5-forma mod build. Prime Sure-Footed is not necessary. I purely have this on for when I'm running around without Silken Stride. You have max Prime Sure-Footed, 100% knockdown immunity because of your immune to status effects when you're in the 4th ability. So Prime Sure-Footed there is just more for the shit posts and because I don't want to throw on anything else too much. That being said, range, strength, Exilus here can do pretty well. Really whatever sort of thing you want. I have Summoner's Wrath because this is more of my summoner build for Oraxia. This is how I'm going to take her as like a general gameplay frame. Squad receives companion and summon damage increase, okay? With that, I also have Arcane Camisado. Attacks from summon minions increase ability strength on next ability and your summons are faster. Really awesome, right? And then I also have Arcane Bellicose because I have a lot of health and I'm health tanking. Gain ability strength for every 250 max health. So you gain instantly like 300% strength on playing and jumping in as Oraxia. So it's pretty good overall. There's a lot of other things you can do. You can 100% throw on Arcane Crepuscular. While invisible, gained 30% ability strength and 3x final critical damage. That one's insane for high damage. The issue is I just don't go invisible enough, so I don't always want to use Arcane Crepuscular, but this is another insanely good arcane you can use with this Warframe, because you're just always invisible, okay? There's probably a handful of other good ones, but those are the three, I would say, main arcanes that I like on her. There are a lot of health arcanes that you can throw on if you're looking for more survivability, right? Like, channeled ability, probably don't want that. But there are other ones you can gain or throw on if you're looking at health tanking. So yeah, you can do whatever you want, man. For general build, I have Umbral Intensify Vitality. If you want more tankiness, you can throw on armor. I just don't find it necessary because I threw on 1 blue shard, but hey, whatever. If you want to throw on full on catalyzing shield, brief respite, health tanking, or sorry, shield gating tank, go for it. Do whatever you feel like. She's great. I have Transient Fortitude. I do like the idea of throwing on Blind Rage. I just don't like the negative efficiency. So if I threw on Blind Rage, I'd probably want to throw on Equilibrium, so I could get way more energy back. But yeah, if you are ever having energy issues, you can always throw on Equilibrium or Arcane Energize for one of your arcanes, or anything in between, such as replace that 1 blue armor shard with the 1 Archon Shard, which makes it so 20% health is energy, 20% energy is health. It's a really good Archon Shard. Either way, since I am health tanking, I have Adaptation thrown on because I don't want to get instant killed. But you know how shitty and weird health tanking can be, so you can still get clapped randomly. So hey, Warframe's a weird game like that. Straight up Archon continuity is insane for obvious reasons. Abilities that inflicts toxin also apply corrosive, meaning all of your abilities now apply corrosive. Good job. I have Primed Flow to have max energy. And again, if you don't like messing with Primed Flow, you can throw on Equilibrium. I have Primed Flow as kind of my energy mod, but Equilibrium's such a good mod. The issue is, like, your costs aren't so high, so I would maybe think about swapping Equilibrium in and out around Primed Flow, because this will probably be a better overall experience. It's just if you spam abilities like me, you might forget and then Prime Flow. But think of it like this. Every time you get a health orb with your first ability, right? That's going to also be an energy orb. So it's essentially infinite sustain, but it just depends on how you play. So keep that in mind. I'm going to just keep Prime Flow on for now, but just keep in mind Equilibrium functionally will probably work better. Okay. So yeah. I do have Streamline here for ability efficiency. If I did throw on Equilibrium, you're probably good to throw off Streamline, but it'll also be a little annoying because then your costs on your abilities will be a little higher. But just keep that in mind. Everything has some give and take. There's nothing perfect, but you can do literally like whatever you want. Araxia is a freaking god. And then I have Augur Reach on just for some more range on my abilities. The usual stuff there. And I would also say Augur Reach, Streamlined, and Primed Flow. These three you can swap out anything depending on how you feel like building, right? Throw on Blind Rage, take off Streamline, take that off. So this is just what I'm looking for in general. So yeah, good shit there. Good shit there. That's my Araxia build. Judge it as you will. I didn't make any other build just because I don't really care to build her a ton of other ways. This was my all defenses goof and gaff build that I was doing for Corrupted Yanis Vor, but this one's just like a meme, so nothing serious in the slightest. And again, you can just take off Prime Surefooted, man. There's a ton of things. Yeah, you can go on Archon Stretch if you want, but I mean, you don't deal any damage via electricity, so that's stupid. You just want to throw on regular stretch. That being said, I threw on Augur Reach for the energy conversion instead of brief respite. So yeah, you always just kind of want to throw on whatever you feel like, and your companion is going to be an absolute powerhouse with this general build as well, even more than usual, because you are running Summoner's Wrath, right? So keep that in mind. Either way, let's go take Oraxia to just like a general steel path run and survival and see how she does in Voidmont. Okay, now that we're actually in mission, you can see that she's a pretty godly killer, even if you're not paying attention to any of her general survivabilities. Like, you don't have to go invisibility wall to wall. You don't have to play Oraxia like this, but this is just a very strong and viable way to play Oraxia, right? Like, you can just go like that. I think it's weird, and this is not my preferred playstyle, but I understand and totally accept that it is strong, okay? I get it. I just don't think it's fun, but I totally get it, man. If you want to lazily be careful, do a ton of damage to the enemies, just stay invisible the whole time like this, I get it. And then just jump around collecting energy and health. It's a good way to, like, kill everyone with Spider Frame. Don't get me wrong, I just think it's like, it's not the funnest way to play something like Oraxia, but that's why I like health tanking too, because it's more fun for me. It's just funny when you're running around, you just get like one-tapped by random enemies. And that's why, like, if you're doing invisibility a lot, that invisibility arcane, where you gain final crit damage and strength, is so good, right? Because you can keep up this 8-second invisibility forever pretty easily. And again, like I said, if you do have Equilibrium on, and you're not just relying on your first ability and enemy Warframe energy drops, like, you're probably going to be a god anyways. So you can just play this chick kinda however you want. You have literally nothing stopping you from being a powerhouse murderer. Like, look at that. And then I just hide on the wall, and then you're just a spider on the wall. I think they did do a really good job with Oraxia. I'd say she's like A or S tier, depending on if you like her kit. Probably she's like an A tier Warframe for me. Her kit is a little dependent, more survivability-wise, on you being a health tank or an invisibility shield tank, which will be insane, right, if you so choose. I just really like health tanking as a general in Warframe, because I don't like having to constantly play around not dying and being invincible and shield gating when I don't want to use abilities, you know? So she's a pretty godly frame. I think they did a really good job with her kit just being strong. You can just play like Goomba Stomper and just jump around like this half the time. Throw your third ability out. You don't even have to use your second ability, right? Like, you don't need the damage vulnerability. If you're going all out, you're killing everything instantly with my Exceltra pretty easily. So it's like, you don't need all that extra damage vulnerability unless you start getting into a higher level, right? So I think Warframe did a really good job with Oraxia, and they should feel good. She's a very lovely, very amazing spider frame, okay? And I really love how the visuals on her webs look as well. Like, I think they did a great job, and I'm enjoying my time as a Oraxia player. I'm just grabbing screenshots here to make it look really cool. Either way, let me know your general thoughts on Oraxia. Is she the new best Warframe in the game? I know you want to try to ideally be stuck to walls because you get a huge bonus to invisibility as well as your damage on your fourth ability. I just don't like being stuck to the wall all the time. But that's my only, like, annoyance with her is, yes, obviously her kit is ideally made if you're on the wall, nuking the shit out of enemies. I just don't like always clinging to the walls. So if there is any complaint, you can also cling to roofs, by the way. If there was any complaint, it's just that, man, I don't like clinging to the wall constantly, but you can cling to roofs. So, I mean, like, that's really useful, right? You can just continually look up, hit shift, right? And then you're back. Like, that's sick. Either way, there is also one thing I did want to mention, and I'll make a short for this as well. You are not technically able to melee when in your fourth ability. Your melee gets replaced with your first ability, right? And that's just how it functions. But here's the thing. If you're auto-attacking melee, you hit your fourth ability, and you keep auto-attacking melee, you might be able to break into melee. So I'm auto-attacking with melee. I use my 4th ability. Oh, did they fix this already? No, they may have fixed it. No, they fixed it. There was a bug with Oraxia where you could be meleeing, use your 4th ability, and then you'd continue meleeing. But it looks like they fixed that bug. Sadly, it doesn't look like you're able to be a melee Oraxia, or it might work with other weapons. Either way, the one annoying thing as well, or other annoying thing, is you can't use melee in your 4th ability, and her 4th ability looks like it would be so ideally insane for melee. But you can still use your secondary, your primary, and you can absolutely destroy enemies, so it's not like it's the biggest issue. Yeah. Either way, everybody, let me know what you think about Oraxia, if she is your favorite frame, if you've given in to Dommy Mommy Spider frame. I don't know, let me know, kind of curious, but thank you for joining the Oraxia Brotherhood. Cheers, sub, like, and use Epic Games creator code Pupsker to support the channel. Use Twitch Prime on Twitch, and everything like that. Goodbye, Oraxia. Cheers.